Welcome back to Megabytes Educators. In this short video, we're going to review the ArcGIS Online interface that we first looked at when we were exploring geo-inquiries. So here in the top left-hand corner is a Details button. If we click that Details button, it'll make the map go full screen, or if we click it again, it'll bring up the information, data layers, etc. about our map. Pretty much all the time, you're going to leave this checked so that you can see whatever useful information is here on the left side of the screen. Now, next to Details is the option to change the base map. There are numerous different base maps in here, and you can pick whichever one best suits the analysis or the data or the visualization style you're looking for. This works just like Google Maps or Apple Maps, where you have the option to pick some with imagery. You can pick some that are more like topographic maps, and then they have some in here that have a very artistic or aesthetic look to them. So you just pick whichever one is most interesting to you. Now, below this, on the left-hand side, we have an About button. And the About button will give you a little bit of what's called metadata, or data about the data. So in this case, it's a description of the map. Next to that is a Content button, and that'll show you whatever data layers have already been added to the map. So in this case, we only have one data layer and the base map. Beside that, we have the Legend button. And so right now in the Legend, it shows us that every dot that we see on the map is all symbolized the exact same way. Now, over on the top right-hand corner, we do have this Find Address or Place. So just like in Google Maps or Apple Maps, you can use that to search and find a specific location. Now, beside that, I've added some bookmarks for you already. So if you want to be able to zoom out to the entire extent of East Tennessee and see all of the data, in this case from 2020, we can click this bookmark for East Tennessee, and we can see everything in the Knoxville area as well as down here in the Chattanooga area. We can zoom into just the Knoxville area, or we can zoom into Soddy Daisy. Beside the bookmarks is the Measure tool, and you'll notice here with this that we can use it to measure area, distance, get coordinates, and then we can change the units. And across the top, that's probably the most useful items that we have. Now let's take just a minute and take a quick look at the data layers that are here in the map. So I'm going to go back here and click on Content so I can see the individual layers. Again, in this case, we only have a single layer. I just want to review what these different buttons and icons mean. So there's a checkbox here on the left-hand side. If we check that box and uncheck the box, that turns the layer off and on. Doesn't delete it, just makes it where it's visible or not visible. Below the layer name, and if you don't see it, you can click once on the layer name. You can also see the legend. And in this case, everything is the same dark gray dot, so they all have the same legend. This button with the what looks like a spreadsheet icon pulls up the data table, and we'll explore this in depth here in just a minute. Next, we've got this one with 3 stack shapes, a triangle, square, and circle. If we click on that, this is how we change the style, which we'll get to here in just a few minutes. Beside that is an option to do filtering and clustering. For the purpose of this video, that's more detailed than we need, so we're going to skip that, and we're going to explore this last option, which is these 3 dots here on the end. And what we can use that for is we can either adjust the transparency of the data layer. So if you want to make those a little more transparent so you can see through them, you can do that. Or if you want to be able to zoom to a data layer so you can zoom closer in or further out, but try and go ahead and zoom out to the full extent of that data layer. Those are all set up there. You'll notice that the topographic map, which is the base map, it doesn't have those layers. Think of it just like the base map that you would see on Google Maps or Apple Maps. It has a lot of information, but you can't really click on it because it doesn't really contain anything. So really what we're looking for are the points, lines, and polygons that are floating on top of the data. So that's going to do it for this video. We'll be back in just a minute, and we'll actually explore some of the tabular data.